Welcome again to the City Hall to yet another episode of the Luxembourg Mind. Today we are talking to Corinne Cahen. Corinne was formerly the Minister of Family Affairs and Integration. Corinne was also the president of the DP, the Democratic Party, which is one of the ruling coalition parties. Corinne is currently an Alderman for the City of Luxembourg, and she is a member of the Chambre des Députés. Over her career as a politician, she's made monumental changes that have really helped Luxembourgish life. We're going to talk about some of that, and we're going to talk about some of her upcoming challenges, things that she's focusing on to improve life in Luxembourg. Let's go hear directly from Corinne. I hear someone walking. She's definitely in. Corinne!
Oh, hi, how are you?
Very good to see you.
Good to see you. Hi. Welcome here to the city of Luxembourg.
Thank you.
Let's take a seat.
I'll take a seat. Let's have a chat.
You want champagne, wine, beer?
When in Luxembourg, Cremant is the way to go, right?
Cremant, yeah, exactly.
All right. Let's start the conversation. Corinne, thank you so much for joining us on the Luxembourg Mind podcast.
Thank you for being here.
I want to start by talking to you about the journey that you've taken to get to where you are today. You started off as a journalist. You then managed your family's shoe business, which is quite a remarkable business. It's been around for more than 100 years. And then you embarked upon your current path of politics. I wanted to understand a little bit about your journey and the motivation for the move into public service.
The motivation is that I used to be the president of the Union Commerciale de la Ville de Luxembourg. I used to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce. Actually, as a person, I love to fight for things that I think that are worth it, and I like also to take care about others. For example, my shoe shop, my main shoe shop is at the Gare, and so I always took. Looked after the homeless people, for example, after refugees. So that's my social background because I'm from Bonnevoie Gare. So I think it's quite strong. And I have an opinion on everything, or almost everything. And I don't like when no decisions are made. Now, in politics, you can take a decision that is wrong later on, or that is right. But the worst decision, or the only wrong decision, is the one you don't take. And I had the opinion that the country was very old-fashioned and a little bit stuck, and there were no decisions made anymore. And Xavier Buttel, who is an old friend of mine, he always asked me, and all parties always asked me to join them, and I said no. If I join a party, it's the Democratic Party, because that are my values. And Xavier always asked me, and I always said, once you will be the head of the list, I will be on the list. So in 2013, he was head of the list, and I was on the list, and I was elected right away, which was a real surprise, because I'm not from the public service, I'm a woman, I was 40 years old, etc. So it was quite a surprise. And then, Xavier asked me to join the government, and I think we are going to talk about it. I made a lot of things to improve the life of a lot of people, and that's what keeps me going. I want to help. I help in my private life. I help a lot of people, refugees, because I always say if everybody takes care of one person, then everybody is taken care of. So that's a little bit my mantra, and that's what we do at home, and that's what I want to do in politics also. Try to make the country better, or the city better for the people who live in this country or this city.
That's great. It sounds like you were with the people, you were a journalist, you had your own store, you knew what some of the problems that you wanted to solve were, you actually got into politics and started solving those problems. That sounds like a very proactive approach.
Yeah, I know, I still have my shoe shops. I go there almost every day. I have more or less 30 people working there. So I think that I have a good contact to the people and what I like to do. Actually, if you ask me what you prefer, what I love is being with people. Working for people and being with people. So whether it is at the shoe shop, at the parliament, here, at the commune, wherever, I love to work with people in a team and be with people, listen to them, and try to find solutions for problems that could exist. So.
That's great. I have a question on your social engagements, but I'll save that for later. What I wanted to talk about was, as Minister of Family Affairs and Integration, which you were for nearly a decade, you played such a critical role in shaping Luxembourg's approach to diversity, to inclusion, to parental leave, and a lot more. I was wanting to reflect on, what achievements you're the most proud of, and where you think urgent attention is still needed.
I think that everywhere attention is still needed because the world is not stuck. It doesn't. Sure. It never stops. So we need all attention on everything all the time. It's not because you made a new law that you can say, okay, that's it now, and that's good for the next few decades. That's not the case. But I'm very proud on a lot of things. First of all, that I made everything together with the social partners, the unions, and also the Union des Entreprises Luxembourgeoises. That's very important to do things together. Like, for example, the parental leave. I'm very proud that today more fathers take the parental leave than mothers. So that's just great, because when I arrived, 25% of those who took the parental leave were men, and the other 75% women. And that's a problem when you want to find a job as a woman when you are 30 years old. The employer would prefer taking the man, because you say, oh no, the woman is going to leave once that she has children. And now men also take the parental leave. So that's really, really great. And there are small things I'm very proud of, and there are bigger things I'm proud of. Like, for example, one that could be a small thing is breastfeeding. When I got my kids, I breastfeeded for a very long time, but I had friends where it didn't work, and I had also friends who didn't want to, and that's their choice. But at that time, when you breastfeed it, you had 12 weeks of maternal leave after giving birth, and when you didn't breastfeed, you had only 8 weeks. And I was so fed up with this. I always said, if I can change it, I will change it, because it's not the state who has to tell mothers you're a good mother or bad mother. Indeed. And so I was there sitting always with only men, and then I said, okay, we have to stop this. Every woman has to get the 12 weeks off. Yeah. And then they were saying, yeah, but I said, okay, but if the state, if the government wants to tell people what's good and not good, then you have to get days off if you give 5 vegetables to your 12-year-old child per day, for example. And then I said, if the state is as concerned as this, then the state should also say, okay, if you have 3 times a week sexual with your partner, then you pay less because it's good for the heart. Yes. And then the men were always laughing, haha, no, we understand. So that's a small thing, but I think for women it's very important, because I'm really fed up with the thing that we want to tell people how they should live. That's completely wrong. We have to give the opportunity to people to live as they think they should, with all the consequences, because if you don't work, then of course, once your partner leaves, if that is the case, then you have a problem. But so that's, for example, something I'm really proud of. Also, we changed the RMG, the Revenu Minimum Garanti, to the Revenu d'Inclusion Sociale, that people are activated. I think it's very important that you have something to do during your day, learn a language, making therapy, working somewhere. It's very important also for the self-confidence, and it's important to be part of the society. And then, of course, the whole part of the integration, living together, the whole law of living together. We had the crisis, the Syrians who arrived in 2015. We built a lot of houses for immigrants, for people who came here as refugees, actually. So, and we made a lot of programs so that people would meet, all people from all communities. And that's where we are quite strong, I think, here in Luxembourg. We don't, because we try not to have the Portuguese on one side, the Indians there, the Luxembourgish there, the French. We try to mix up all these people, because it's very important, and that's my experience. It's very important that we get to know each other. When you don't know other people, you are afraid of them. For example, when we opened the refugee house and people didn't meet yet with the refugees, they would say, no, no, our girls cannot go out anymore, they will be raped, etc. So all these things that people have in mind, but once they met, they said, oh, but actually they are nice, you know, so it's very important to make people meet. And then my last law that I passed is the one for elderly people to have more, how do you say, taking better care of elderly people, more quality, not only the quantity, but also the quality of the taking care, whether they are at home or in a house for elderly people. I think that's very important. So I forgot a lot of things, but that's some of them.
No, that's great. So you've had an impact across so many different segments of society. And, you know, as a parent of 2 kids who were born in Luxembourg, I'm very grateful.
Yeah, but it's important also for me, that's my opinion, for me it's important to be financially independent. That's very, very important, and that's the message I would give to the women, because you know, you can have a very good relationship when you're on the same level. You don't, you know, and the dad of kids can also work a little bit less. So if both work a little bit less, they have a lot of time for the kids, but still they are in work. I think that's very, very important in our society today. And if I see what happens, that we become a little bit more conservative again, my fear is quite big. We talk a lot about abortion now in Luxembourg, writing it into the constitution or not. I think that the women's rights are never... I'm not a feminist. I always said I'm not a feminist, but I must admit that women's rights are never as strong as men's rights. So we have always to be aware. Yeah.
Again, as a father of a daughter, I'm very, very grateful for all your efforts. There's something I want to go deeper on. You know, you mentioned the efforts that Luxembourg has been taking to bring together different communities, to make sure that people who come here are well integrated in here. And I also want to tie that into something that you mentioned at Expat Day 2 weeks ago. You know, you mentioned about how Luxembourg City has one of the highest proportion of expats in Europe, I think 72%.
72%.
And, you know, it stood out to me as, you know, Luxembourg's integration model being a beacon for the rest of the world to follow. What lessons do you think other countries can look at us and learn from us?
Yeah, first of all, mix up. That's the most important. You see in France that when you have ghettos, it doesn't work. So you have to mix up and you have to empower. For me, the key to success is education. That's the key to success. You have to support children, and even if maybe the first generation who arrives has problems integrating learning language or whatever, the second generation has to have all the chances. All the kids have to have the same chances to get a good diploma, to learn something so that they can find a good job that they want to do. For me, education is key, and I'm really proud to have been part of the government where we introduced the public European schools, where we opened schools for everybody, actually, because the Luxembourgish system is quite hard for people who are not native Luxembourgish or German speakers at home. And so it's important to diversify also and not say, okay, you are from the south of Europe, so it's normal that you don't get a degree like a Luxembourger. No, that's not true. You know, it's not because your mother language is another language that you are dumber or more stupid or more intelligent. That's not the case. So I think education is the key. Meeting each other is the key. Being open-minded, daring to learn something from somebody, something that you don't know, even if you are skeptical at the beginning. I think that's very, very important. It's very important to mix up, to see people and to have common hobbies and not only a common nationality. You know, instead of saying, okay, we are all Indians and we stuck together because we know India and we go there sometimes, etc. Saying, no, actually, what matters to me is football, for example. And there you mix up with people who like football. So of all different countries and all nationalities. And I think that's very important. And we try to do this also in the city of Luxembourg. Like, for example, we have welcome days for all new inhabitants of the city. So even Luxembourgish people, if they come back to Luxembourg or if they move from another commune to Luxembourg City, and that's really nice because there we show people what they can do, what we have in sports, how our bus service, our communication, the dust, how to put the dust, between paper and glass, etc.
Yes, yes.
So and we have a lot of and that's people really like that because they meet each other, but they get a lot of information about what the city of Luxembourg can do for them and does for them, and I think that's very important. Communication is also an important matter. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I've been seeing a lot of collateral from the city of Luxembourg about events that they do, the magazines, like you said, the Welcome Day. It's great. So I guess the message for the rest of the world or places that have similar, diaspora would be, engage in more activities, get people to meet each other, to mix more, create avenues for people to have shared hobbies. Exactly. And that's how society integrates.
Exactly, and try to learn a little bit languages.
Okay.
I think for us Luxembourgers, it's important to see that you are interested in where you are. So maybe a little bit of the history of the country, of course, which is not very, very long because we are a quite young country from the 19th century. Now the country has existed, but we were not independent. And learn some words of Luxembourgish. A culture is made also, an identity is made also of the language, out of the language. So we are proud and happy when you speak some Luxembourgish, and when you are abroad, you will see Luxembourgish is a great language, because when you are abroad and people speak English, they can be from everywhere.
Sure.
If they speak French, same. But if you are like in the south somewhere on vacation and somebody speaks Luxembourgish, you have immediately this thing in common, because he has to have a common ground, and that's really nice actually, because it's a very nice community, Luxembourgish. It's like a secret language a little bit.
Indeed,
So,
indeed.
Yeah.
Having previously served as the president of the Democratic Party, I think for a decade, what do you see as the biggest challenges and opportunities for Luxembourg's political landscape today?
I think today the biggest challenge is the international situation. I see that also with the youth, that the world has changed these last 4 years, and I think that's also for a small country like Luxembourg very challenging. The whole defense programs of Europe. We need Europe to get closer together. You don't really know what Russia and the BRICS countries want to do, and we need to fight for our democracies, for our freedom. That's what we want, and so I think that the international situation is the biggest challenge for Luxembourg and for Europe in general.
Indeed, and I guess when you look at some of our neighbors, it seems like there seems to be the rise of the far right, and it's something that I've always been looking at and thinking about how do we as Luxembourg protect the environment here. And also, when I look at recent trends, we've actually been very lucky. We've actually been doing really, really well here. We haven't had as much of polarization as some of our neighbors. What would you attribute that to?
I think that we have the big chance to have politicians who listen to people and to understand what are the concerns of the population, like Xavier Bettel. He's somebody who is really easy to talk with, who listens, and who he's a very special person, and I think it's very, very important, and we are very lucky to have him here in Luxembourg, because his language skills are great, and he's just easy access. He was with me in primary school already.
Ah, really?
And he was terrible, because he was exactly as he is today, he would come into the bus and see my mom and say, hi, you're Corinne's mom, I'm Xavier Bettel, and I live in Bonnevoie, and the weather is nice, and blah, 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 blah. And my mother would come home and say, he's such a nice child. So I always say that he is not like this because he makes politics, but he makes politics because he is like he is. Okay. And I think that's a big opportunity. We had Jean-Claude Juncker in his time. He was a very good prime minister. And then Xavier Bettel. We need people like him who are there for others, who work for other people, and who try their best to bring the country further on. And I think that's very important. So a charismatic leader, to have a charismatic leader. Yeah.
Great. Looking ahead, what are your personal goals in your current political and civic roles? What areas would you want to see the most impact having been made?
On helping people, empower people, finding jobs for people, make people independent, finding a housing for people. That's what keeps me going. Helping people who are in the street to find again the way back into society. Empowering people. That's my main goal. But of course, there are other things that I'm very interested in. I want, even if we have a very green city, I want an even more greener city, more greener city. Do you say that? Yeah. I ride a lot on my bicycle. I would like to have even better bicycle lanes where you would even could send your 7-year-old child without fear on the bicycle lane. And then, of course, the whole digitalization, the artificial intelligence should serve the people, and we have short ways here. So I think we can be a very good laboratory also for these technologies, and see how they can help people, empower people, also help them in their everyday life. I think that's very, very important, and that are things that we really have to focus on in the future also.
Okay, these are great goals to have. 2-3 years from now, what would you look back and say, or what are your measures of success for you to look back and say, you know what, this thing works really, really well?
Empower women, families, and help people who arrived here without nothing. That's what really matters to me. Is my family was a Jewish family, and my father's family was in Auvergne in France, and I some years ago I went there with my parents, my children, and my aunt, where they have been during the World War II. And there was this woman, she was 96 or 97 years old, she was the neighbor, and she said this very nice sentence, I didn't know what a Jew is, I didn't know what a Luxembourger is, but there were people who needed help, and I helped. And that should be our mantra. We should, as I told you before, if everybody helps one person, everybody's helped. So we should empower each other and help each other, and that's what I want to continue to do. And I think that I managed already to empower a lot of people. And that's what keeps me going and keeps me fighting for. And
that's beautiful. That's great. Corinne, outside of politics, you've stayed so engaged with civic and cultural life in Luxembourg. I saw you at Expat Day. I saw you again in India. You're everywhere. You're talking to people all the time. What inspires you to be so active in so many different spheres of Luxembourgish life?
First of all, I love to meet people. So I think that you grow when you meet other people. That makes you stronger and more intelligent and more open-minded. I love to be with people. I love to meet them. I played the music. And that's the way I am. I love listening, talking to people, getting a feeling of what is needed, what is good, what is maybe less good. And I really like that. The thing that I don't like, I'm going to tell you too, is when you go somewhere, people always want you to eat. And I love eating, but I cannot eat from the morning to the evening because otherwise I will just get. Sure. So that's always people feel offense when they say, "Oh, try my food," and I say, "No, I cannot try everything because I cannot keep eating all the time." That's the more difficult part of it.
Maybe that's why you're biking so much, because it helps drive appetite.
I'm not biking a lot. I'm not biking as a sport. I'm biking to go from A to B.
Okay.
So I'm not biking as a sport, and I have an electro bike, so it's not really sports. The Tour de Luxembourg, that's sports, but I don't do biking sports. I just want to be as fast as I can from one point to the next.
Well, talking about hobbies and fun elements, this brings us to our rapid fire round. I'm going to ask you short questions just to kind of get the pulse of how you feel about certain things. There are no right or wrong answers. It's just a fun segment. Okay. What's your favorite venue to hang out in the city?
There are a lot of places. I don't have a favorite place. I have favorite people. I like to hang out with people, and I like to discover new places. I love good restaurants, but I also love nice, easy restaurants. I love the Conrad Café, Rue du Nord, for example, because there's a lot of international community. The food is good. They are nice. I like the Herz Pop-up. I like the interview.
Sure.
I like the urban. I like a lot of places actually in the city. I like, of course, the Gare, the Quartier de la Gare, where I have my shoe shop, the Paname, for example, but also the restaurants in the Rue de Strasbourg. I think there are a lot of great places to be in Luxembourg, and the greatest thing is to meet different people. So it's more the people than the places.
Okay, fantastic. I'm going to juxtapose two situations for you, and you need to tell me what you prefer. Giving a speech in Parliament where you're in front of a lot of people live on TV versus negotiating a vendor deal for your shoe shop.
I like both. Actually, I love to put forward arguments and to fight for something. So if it's a better price for my customers in the shoe shop, or if it's to make the world better for the population. So there's no number one and number two. Actually, I always like what I do. And there's this big sentence saying, if you like what you do, you will never work in your life.
Yes,
so,
indeed.
And I like what I do. So and it's nice to have different opportunities and different things to do. So it's completely different. And sometimes I don't like it. Sometimes there are subjects that are not as sexy as others. But still, I like what I do. I like to be with people and I like to negotiate. Yeah, I like all of this.
Okay, I'm going to bring us back to the question about talents and hobbies and mix that up with a hypothetical situation. Corinne, you are abducted by aliens, and the aliens they tell you need to showcase a talent to save Earth. What skill are you going to show them?
Talking.
Okay, all right. I've seen you do plenty of that.
I would prefer playing the piano. I play the piano, but I'm not sure that I can save the earth with my playing of the piano, for example. Or I used to play the percussion. I loved that, but I cannot save the world with that. But maybe with helping others, maybe that.
You must have nice neighbors to play the percussion.
Yeah, you don't really play that at home.
Okay.
You play that in a music company.
Right. Next question is, when is the last time you played a competitive board game?
No, I cannot answer very shortly because I have one of my kids. We have 5 kids. One of them loves to play but hates to lose. So that's a problem because I love playing. And I don't care if I win or lose in the game because I just love the game. But my youngest daughter, she cannot stand to lose. So she wants to play, she loves it, but once she is losing, she says, "Oh, I'm really tired. Oh, I have to go to bed." And my partner also, he hates losing. He's not really a player, but he hates losing. So as soon as he loses, when he has to play, he says, "I have to look at the rules. That cannot be correct." So it's very funny in our family to play games. But we do it, we play. And so it's not that long because it was during the summer holidays where we played. So
what kind of games?
So like Clarisse, she loves Monopoly and I hate it because it's too long.
Yes.
So we try also to find new games. We play Wizard, we play knowledge things.
Okay.
And there's always the same who wins, actually. He knows everything, so it's very...
Who is that?
That's the son of my partner.
Okay. All right.
He knows everything. He's just really intelligent.
Okay.
So no, we some of us love to play and others less. Yes.
All right. One thing people misunderstand about being a politician.
That we work a lot and that I really want to do my best. People think that politicians are the elite very often, also not only in Luxembourg but a little bit everywhere in the world. And what I think politicians are about, they have to represent the population. So we don't need only one sort of politicians, we need a lot of different politicians from different sectors, from different ages, from different backgrounds, also education backgrounds, etc. I think that's very important. And people think that it's an easy job. It can probably be, but I love the job. But it's the difference between being loved by everybody and taking decisions. And once you take decisions, there are always people who think that the decision is not the right one. So you have to explain, etc. But if you don't take a decision, then people love you. They love you when you don't take decisions, because then they say, oh, he's a nice guy, or she's a nice girl. But once you take a decision, you say, okay, I'm going to paint this red, then some people would say, oh, nice, and others would say, oh no, that's terrible. So that's normal. When you take a decision, you never have 100% of the people who are okay with.
Of course, no, I understand. This brings us, Corinne, to the final question. It's the advice segment. For folks in Luxembourg who are trying to shape the country's future, whether through politics or business or civic life, what advice would you give them?
Get involved. Get involved. First of all, if you are not a Luxembourgish citizen, you don't have the Luxembourgish nationality, go to your commune today and register for the next communal elections. That's the very first thing to do. And if you listen to this and it's not Saturday or Sunday, just do it now. Cut this and go now to your commune. Go there. Register for the elections to vote, because democracy can only happen if people participate.
Yes.
That's what democracy is about. So we need you to participate. And once you are registered, then you get interested in politics and who wants what, and go to meetings and tell the politicians or those who want to become politicians what you think and what matters to you in your street, in your quarter, in your city, in your country. That's very important. So that would be the very first thing. Get registered. Go and vote. When you can vote, so for the communal elections you are allowed to vote. If you have been here for 1 year or for 10 years, you can vote nevertheless from where you come. So go to your commune and register, put yourself on the lists and vote for the next communal elections. They are in 2029. So that would be the very first advice, and that's the most important. And then the second advice, which is also really important, become a volunteer. So maybe you are interested in music or in arts or in helping people or whatever. Get involved. Volunteer. Go to the Red Cross or to an NGO or wherever, to a music, to the Scouts, to wherever, but volunteer. Our society is based on volunteering. We have jobs, we have hobbies, but we volunteer a lot. And our clubs, where we come together, can only exist when we volunteer.
Indeed. So
if you want to meet people in Luxembourg from all kind of backgrounds, etc., volunteer. Go volunteering in an association, in a club. We need you. We need you to volunteer and to come and to help. Getting on, and so that would be the second advice. Volunteering.
That's great advice, Corinne. Thank you very, very much. Thank you for your time here, but thank you also very, very much for everything you've done for Luxembourg and everything that you're continuing to do for us.
Thank you for having been here, and you are always welcome.
Thank you, Corinne.
Thank you.